Welcome to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. Welcome back to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. I'm your host, KJ Green. I'm a product leader, entrepreneur, and a lover of all things technology. And we are at part two of the product market fit episode series. And I am so excited to dive into this pre recording part two of this series. But to ground us in this episode, in the last session, we took time to define what product market fit is. And in this episode, what we're going to do is knowing that defining product market fit isn't enough, but product market fit has to be discovered, and that discovery happens through experimentation. This is where many builders get stuck. They overthink, overbuild, and delay testing their ideas in the real world. But building is expensive and learning is very affordable. So building, expensive. Time, money, effort, sweat, tears, blood, like all these things. Learning, affordable, cheap user test. It's really the save for a lot of time and money lost. So please learn. And in this session, we'll explore how experimentation shows up through customer discovery, prototyping, and real time feedback that becomes the fastest path to clarity, not through assumptions, but through evidence. I'm excited for you to take part in this episode, and yeah, we will run the pre-recorded episode and let me know your thoughts on what you think and how this went.
Okay, so this is the second half of entrepreneurship course. And as I was mentioning in the first half, we talked about customer discovery. We talked about living in the problem, first and foremost, talked about market sizing, and we also covered just having a cultural lens to understanding the problem. And we also talked about ways that you can begin to test your product through building an MVP. And in the second half, we'll talk about running experiments, designing an experiment, and some other resources for product market fit. So here is running experiments. So why should we even experiment? So building is expensive. So if you build a product with even any experimentation prior, it could cost some time, and learning and testing is affordable. It's cheap, it's free. And that helps you to validate before you scale this product to customers who may not even want it. And product market fit is really discovered through iteration because you could have built a, I guess I'll continue to use the example of Selly, but we built an AI gifting platform in website form. We thought that customers wanted it in app form, but through a lot more discovery and usability testing, customers actually wanted a website form. And I saw that as it made sense because that helped to drive adoption when someone could use the website first before jumping to an app. And honestly, I thought people wanted an app first, but I kind of we went off of what the customers were saying because once you start inserting your bias, that's where the building becomes expensive because you're not actually solving for what your customer wants. You're solving for what you want, and you're not your customer. So let's work to remove those biases because they don't help us in the long run. But some other ways that experiments, how you can validate using experiments early is through live demos. Live demos help you show your product in action in real time and where you can get real time feedback. Soft launches help you test out with a small targeted group, not just for feedback, but observing behavior. There is a new coffee shop that just opened up in my neighborhood in Hoboken, New Jersey, in the New York City metro area. And they started with a soft launch. They just opened really nice space, but they haven't fully started offering all of the products on their menu, all the juices, teas, coffees, and pastries on their menu because they're really just testing out the space to see if people really like it or not. And I love that approach because you can really get a lot of understanding of what people actually want. In this case, a coffee shop that's in a very competitive market before going all in on products, on marketing, but just allowing the customer to speak to you in a very intentional way. So I love it. So here's a quote from Jeff Bezos. What you really want to do company wide is maximize the number of experiments you can do per given unit of time. So what he basically is saying, you want to maximize experiments early with all the time you have before you actually build. When I worked at Amazon, that's what we did. Wrote PR FAQs, which is basically just like a sample press release on this product. And it was a written 6 pager that talked about the product before it was even built. And that was good. You would either do a PR FAQ, which was a one pager, excuse me, or a 6 pager strategy document that would get passed between many levels of leadership. They would mark it up. But that was helpful to help us to test just the voice of the product through a press release. And if the leadership didn't like it, then you did build. Simple as that. So, designing an experiment. So, you can start with a hypothesis and asking the question, what are you trying to prove or learn? Example, these are some real life examples of AI founders that will pay for a 3 week cloud setup sprint. Second, MVP test. What's the smallest way to test it? Either through a landing page with a Calendly link or a pre-sale form. Measure what behaviors equal success. So are people actually scheduling calls? Are they paying for signups? Are you able to even collect emails? That is a true test of the viability of this product early on. And just learning and iteration, the continuous learning, what's worked, what didn't, what are people actually saying? What are they complaining about with your product, with your MVP? Is it actually beginning to solve a need? And the learning and iteration phase is actually the humbling phase because what you thought may have worked actually isn't working with your customer base. And this is where we have to take a step back and say, you know what? I have to check my ego at the door and revise this product based off of not what I want, but what my customer wants. So, just practical examples here. So, hypothesis. We can start by asking, what do we believe is true? What are we truly trying to solve or learn? So, for example, with Selly, when we were working on this product, we had a core belief that users wanted an AI powered way to send gifts without overthinking it. The MVP test from there, we created a prototype and tested it through multiple live usability sessions where customers actually clicked and went through the full user flow of the product. And we wanted to see if not just if users were interested, but whether they could actually navigate the product intuitively. Have you ever been on a website that didn't actually work? Now, that's a tough place to be, right? When your user is excited, they go on the website and it doesn't actually work. That's tough. And this happened to me the other day. I was going to a gym and, they said they had like a 2 week pass. I'm not, a 2 week pass. I could sign up. I called, they didn't share the price over the phone, which is fine. I called, I got there and no one was to be found. They were like, yeah, we would be on the second floor. We'll meet you. We'll do the tour. Like no one was there. When you start creating pain points through either an undelivered result, a tough website to navigate, or any other pain point, when you create the pain points for your user in MVP testing, this is where you can really start to solve the pain points. But when you do create pain points, it's good that you're able to catch them and solve them. That's great. But it does reflect badly on you as the founder, the startup creator, because this is your baby. This is your product. You want people to pay for it. You want this to be successful. And we can't create pain points because we're here to solve pain points. Anyway, so we had planned to do an eye tracking test to measure the attention flow of users, but we had ran out of time and we quite frankly didn't have the funding for that. But this is really where you kind of understand how users are fully interacting with your product through them actually clicking through your website, finding ways where you can track their behavior. And there are AI products these days that can do that. Again, we were testing this back in 2021 before the AI boom. So we were using very conventional methods. Third, measuring. So during the test, we measured where users clicked, how long they took to complete a key workflow, how long they took to fill out the profile, what they hesitated on, where did they get stuck, and how confident they were afterward. And these metrics told us where the frictions existed, even if they didn't say it out loud, which was super helpful. So step four is after each session, we captured what worked and what didn't. So some users loved the interface, they loved the colors. Others were confused by the language. And we found key areas to improve based off of design and positioning. And that's the power of experimentation and usability testing, where you get both behavioral and emotional feedback before you invest in a deeper and expensive build. And even without running the eye tracking test that we wanted to do, we walked away with some key insights that help to guide our next iteration of our product. And that leads me to the prototyping phase. So this is before we move the product to a website, but we were testing just a prototype of an app on what that can look like. And some questions that we asked ourselves in this process, because a prototype is really, this is your MVP. This is a low effort version of your product that's used to test a key assumption. So we ask these questions. Does this solve the real problem? Were users engaged? Can they even understand what it does? So I'll play the video again so you can just kind of see just a quick user flow. Okay. And that's it. So you can use tools like Figma, which is a lightweight interactive version, which can create a lightweight interactive version of your product. This helped us to quickly put the idea in front of people without writing a single line of production code. And the goal, as I mentioned the questions that we asked ourselves, but you'll notice that the prototype walks users through just this clean experience, starting with the gift intent, the recipient's preferences, and ending with a curated result. And this demo helped us to spot friction points, test reactions to copy and also the flow, and to confirm whether the experience made emotional sense. Prototyping at this stage helps to save time, money, and energy. And honestly, there are a lot of AI prototyping tools that exist today that you can do this very, very quickly. So, as I mentioned, these are just some examples of prototyping tools. So, for my low code builders, you can use Webflow, Card, Notion, Glide. Actual prototypes, you can use Figma, Canva, Marvel. Depending on what you're building, it can also be in the form of a survey, automation, scheduling using Calendly or Stripe. So, this is just a full example list. Obviously, this would whatever you choose will depend on what type of product you're building. So, customer personas. This is a designed customer persona for a consulting engagement that I did with the Maven Link, which is Maven Link is a product management software company. And when I worked on this product for them, we were able to design customer personas. So this is basically the target customer that they are seeking to go after based off of their goals, motivations, roles and responsibilities, etc., where they live, age, occupation, all these things, all these aspects and demographical data. So first, these personas helped us to better understand how different product managers use this product management software when they navigated the software, and what they prioritize, where they hit friction, what features resonated based off of their work style. So this first persona works in a large organization or enterprise. This person prioritizes workflows, templates, and milestone tracking. and needs structure and hates ambiguity and wants robust tools for approvals and reporting and consistency. This second persona is the client facing product project manager that's often within an agency or consulting environment. They juggle multiple clients and deliverables. They prioritize communication, real time updates, and status clarity, and needs polish and outputs for simplified workflows. This third persona is the scrappy cross functional project manager that often lives within a startup function or fast scaling org. They're flexible, they wear multiple hats, and they need quick visibility and over rigid structure. And you can have numerous customer personas based off of what your product is trying to solve for different aspects of what your customers will use it for. I would say early on, you start with one persona and then you build one general persona and then you build off of that, like how we started with this first persona that existed within large organizations and we build off to the client facing persona and the startup scrappy persona. So these are just some business to business personas. If you're in the B2B space, you would also want to just craft the personas that exist within the space that you're targeting, whether it be SaaS, whether it be a small business owner, a startup, a platform business, you name it. These are the personas. But when you're targeting personas, you kind of want to target the individuals that you will be selling to within that particular company. So whether it be a non-technical founder, a CTO, a head of product, whomever you will be selling, your product to, that's who you inevitably want to target. So building products in the world of AI and emerging technologies. And I emphasize this very, very early on, but as we wrap up, let's ground ourselves into reality. AI won't solve product market fit for you. In fact, without product market fit, AI can often accelerate the wrong things like technical debt, irrelevant features, and waste and spend. And a lot of founders are tempted to layer in AI because it feels cutting edge, but you need clarity on who you're serving, what their pain point is, and how you're solving this problem. Otherwise, AI becomes a distraction, not a differentiator. So, some key takeaways: product market fit is not luck, contrary to popular belief. It is listening, it's testing, and it's iterating. Customer discovery will be your superpower, and it's not a side task. And honestly, you will do customer discovery numerous times, numerous times. You'll have a customer discovery 1.0 when you're officially building your product. You'll do it again once you launch. You'll do it again once you want to launch new features. It will be a toolkit that will be existing in your framework. Culture matters. Products that resonate win faster. And again, the culture changes as well. If people like something today, they may not like it tomorrow. And you have to be able to pivot based off of that customer taste, but also you have to be in tune to what the culture is actually saying in order to even know what people need. And you don't need perfect code or AI. You just need a clear problem, a real user group profile, and some small experiments in order to be able to test your product effectively. So, this is the product market fit book playbook that's step by step. So start with the people, do discovery that matters, research the market, factor in culture, find the offer, and test product market fit in real time. So next steps, interview 3 to 5 potential users, spend 30 minutes inside a niche online community like Reddit, Discord, etc. Sketch or prototype one small MVP. Run tests, learn from behavior, not your personal opinion. All right. And this is where we end. Thank you so much for your time, your attention today. I'm so glad that I was able to really walk through just a process that's near and dear to me. And really, that should be near and dear to all of us as we seek to build products in this competitive landscape in 2025. I really do believe in 2025, companies, consumers, everyone is really over the hype. we are in an overhyped state of AI, but we're over the hype in the sense of we want to invest in people, in products, in processes that are worth our time, not just the next best thing. So, ways that you can connect with me. Here's my email, kj.green@solostarhq.com. You can also subscribe to my newsletter at Inside Solo Star on Substack. The link is in the description here in the slide deck, or you can type inside solostar.substack.com. I do have a podcast on the way that's coming soon, the Product Leaders Edge podcast. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I post every Tuesday on weekly insights on product, cloud, and culture on LinkedIn. Tech Tuesdays with KJ. Please follow, like, subscribe, repost, share. And yeah, please stay connected. I'm excited to see what products you build and the ways that you change this world through technology. These are just some more resources that I wanted to put out there for you all that you can have in your back pocket, in your toolkit for product market fit. And this is the end of this course. I'm so excited to be a part of your journey. And please feel free to reach out at any point in time if I can be of any help to you. Thank you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right, that's a wrap on the two-part product What is Product Market Fit series. I hope that you enjoyed this series. I had a fun time preparing it and putting it together, but some of the takeaways that I even took away from myself from listening to this is product market fit isn't found through planning, it's found through learning. Like it's a learning and iteration process. Your job as a builder isn't to be right, it's to learn faster than everyone else, than your competition, really. Through conversations, prototypes, through real world feedback, and understand that AI is not going to solve the problem for you. AI is really just a feature. It's not infrastructure. It is infrastructure, but it's really just a feature, honestly. And I think we have to move away from the notion that AI will solve all of your problems because AI does not create product market fit magically. Only proximity to the customer will. And experimentation is how you earn clarity. When you continue to experiment and try and test things, that's really how you build clarity. When I was a startup founder for Selly, the AI gifting platform that I shared with you all in episode one. That was the only way that we learned through customer discovery and surveys and usability tests. That's how we essentially build a product. And in the next episode, we'll explore product market fit from a founder's perspective. We will have Miriam Odabe joining us. She is a principal consultant at Rethink Strategy, and she'll be joining the conversation to share what experimentation looks like in practice. She will be debunking a lot of marketing myths, and just providing just an honest and true conversation. Up to this point, that is probably my favorite episode, so I'm sure you will enjoy it as well. But until next time, thank you for listening to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. I am your host, KJ Green. I am a product leader, entrepreneur, and lover of all things technology, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a great one. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. If this episode gave you a new way to think about product leadership, share it with someone else who's building in the tech space today. You can follow my work on LinkedIn through my weekly series, Tech Tuesdays with KJ, and subscribe to the newsletter on Substack, which is Solostar by KJG.substack.com. And I'll link all of that into the show notes for you all. But let's continue to build at the intersection of product, cloud, and AI. Until next time, keep building.